Hey, welcome to the Tales of a Gearhead podcast. This is brought to you by Cornwell Tools. They're the choice of professionals since 1919. Can you believe that? 1919. It's over 100 years building tools. All right, let's get rolling. All right, we have a special treat for you guys today. We have a guest here. His name is Karen Davidson. Now, you may not know who Karen is, but the Davidson last name might give you a bit of a hint. She is Davidson, as in Harley-Davidson. So if you don't know who she is, by the end of this podcast, you will. The first question, did you ever meet Evel Knievel?
Yes!
I bet you did.
Oh my gosh! One of my most cherished childhood memories was going down to Chicago and meeting Evel, sitting in his 18-wheeler, you know, as he was about ready to do the jump in Chicago. It was fabulous.
Now, how old were you?
Oh gosh, I don't know what it was, 9 or 10 or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Now, wasn't he jumping on wasn't it a modified version of one of your dad's bikes?
Yeah, I mean, he rode, you know, he had, I think it was 750 or something. I mean, yeah. He did that jump with, you know, a little Harley bike, and I mean, just, he would, little bike, you know, big Evel Knievel, and just like, you know, I thought he had wings or something.
Yeah.
I just,
he was a superhero.
He was a superhero, you know, and you gotta love it. His attire and the red, white, and blue and all that stuff was just indicative of
now,
the
wasn't
time,
that leather? Was that?
Sure, that was leather, that was inlay. It was blue and red, and, you know, the stars punch out. It's like iconic, and it's like,
Still is.
Still is, yeah.
So how did you get into doing the apparel and the leather and stuff for Harley-Davidson?
Well, you know, it was a career path that was unexpected.
Yeah.
In other words, I studied couture, I went to fashion school. You know, I started out in art, and that all, you know, was an influence from my dad growing up under, you know, his influence and going to car shows, looking at architecture, art, you know, vehicles.
Yeah.
You know, all of this, when you're growing up around it, you don't really know where it's going to lead you. But obviously it was like taking me to a place that was, you know, unexpected. But the path there was do fashion school, and then I was really into performance wear and any kind of like technology and sports. I was always into sports and activewear and things like that. So, you know, it came about around early 90s, you know. It was like the brand is hot, but, you know, really wasn't like, we didn't have an apparel division. And I wasn't working for the company, but it was an opportunity to say, you know, hey, do you want to come on board? Do you want to work for the company? Which I didn't expect that, you know, there'd be a place there for me. And yet, you know, with the vision of what could be, it was like, hey, yes, you know, what can we do? Well, how can we make better product? What can we do for our riders that's even better and, you know, it would blow people away. So, Now,
did you get some flack from the company because you were changing some styles, you were changing things?
No, not at all. You know, it was
awesome.
like, it was kind of like, hey, the dealerships are getting better and better. They're looking, they're inviting, you know, we're getting more and more traffic into the dealerships. And then, you know, it's like, hey, we could do a better job at denims, a better job at, you know, functional leathers. We could do this, that, and the other thing. And we had the audience, we had the customers for it. So it was really great. It was, let me say, it was right time, right place, right?
Now, have you always been a motorcycle person? Or I mean,
I started riding when I was 9. I was behind my dad when I was probably 5. I was in the sidecar, you know, who knows, you know, 3. So, you know, I'm very comfortable in a garage, you know, growing up around.
So you're actually a wrench turner. You worked on vehicles. Your hands are dirty.
I get my hands dirty and I try to learn. Let's just say that. I'm a good student. You know, I don't, no apprehension when it comes to like wrenching, but somebody's got to guide me.
So did you ever have, as you were growing up, was it always Harley-Davidsons, or did you ever have that little Honda 50 or any of those?
Do you know how much trouble I'd be in if I admitted that? So I'm not going to admit it, but no. Yeah, of course. You know, every family event, and, you know, with my grandfather, my dad, my uncle, you know, we were always talking about the company and always talking about like what could be or you know, what was and you know. So
when did you realize your dad was the legend that he is with these designs?
You know,
because I'm sure he was always dad. You know, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, it's Willie.
But you know, throughout my entire life, you know, you're around the brand all the time. So you know, probably pretty early on. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
what are you when you kind of realize, you know, the reality of your life? I don't know if it's 8, 7, something like that. But, you know, I started going, I was at a lot of rallies very young, and I was at a lot of events and a lot of racing events quite young.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was there.
Now, are you a racer yourself?
I would have loved to do that.
Now, what kind of racing would you do?
Well, I always wanted, I got to tell you, I wanted to be a car racer. My mother said, "You're your father's daughter," when at age 10, I admitted not to wanting to be a nurse or anything like that, but I wanted to be a race car driver.
Yeah, nice. I like it. If you could have any car, what would it be? Cost?
Any car?
Yeah, cost is not the object. Anything, it's just that car. And you can only have one. What would
So, you know, I have to say, I do like the Challenger.
Okay.
You know, there's cars that I've seen, chop cars, roadsters. I always wanted a rat rod, like a done-up rat rod with that stealthy, you know, engine and the complete
So you like
build.
kind of the hot rod thing too?
I do like the hot rod thing. Yes.
But there's not one car that kind of stands out as that thing. That
It's so hard to say because I've seen so many, and I've you know, there might be like a chopped Merc that I think is really trick.
Those are cool. Yeah.
You know, I always like them modified. I don't really like it, you know, stock straight up, you know, really old looking car. But you know, I really gravitate towards muscle cars in general.
Yes.
So I've seen, you know, quite a few that I would love to have.
yeah. Okay, so how about motorcycles? Now, do you have a favorite motorcycle?
I do.
What is it?
XLCR 77. I happen to have one, and I just think that is the coolest, most radical step out that we ever did. You know, that shovel head engine. You know, that square, you know, coffin tank. And I remember my dad telling me. I came downstairs. Sometimes he's a painter, artist. You know, and he was painting, and he was talking about, you know, what the next great bike would be. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do a street legal cafe racer type bike with this little fairing on it. And I thought, that's going to be amazing. And sure enough, it came to fruition. And, you know, I've got one. Like,
you do? Those are so rare.
They're very cool. They're very cool. That sound of the shovel, I think the shovel is like one of my favorite engines to listen to. You know, there's nothing like it. So I'm proud of that bike.
He was so far ahead of his time on that.
He was. He was. 77, 78 is when we ran, and it was kind of like, whoa. You know, as we looked at the headlines from Cycle World and all the magazines, it was like, whoa, this is like...
Harley can't do this.
This isn't Harley, right?
Oh,
but it put him on the map. It was like only one man could do this bike. It was Willie G. Davidson, you know.
No, isn't that awesome?
He's my hero. He's like, you know, he's the bad boy, he's the rebel, he's the left turn. Everybody going right, we're going to go left. So I have that same spirit, you know, and I guess I did that with, you know, a couple of things that I did along the way.
You did. I'll tell you what, as you well know, there is kind of two worlds of the bike world. There's your hardcore biker person, and women have a certain role in that. And then you have like the cruiser, and sometimes these don't all join together. So how do you, as the one that's kind of the image of the company, how do you hit that medium?
I have to say today more people are joining together than I've ever seen, right? So we can flash back a couple decades ago, and it might have been more a little bit more segmented, but really, you know, today it's about, you know, we all experience freedom from getting out on the road, you know, and I think a lot of times it's just when there's a big event is when you see it merging and everybody like, you know, we're all in this together for the sense of freedom, for, you know, what we stand for here, you know, and I see it more coming together today than it ever has. And I see more women, younger women, jumping on those bikes, grabbing the throttle, and no apprehension is what I see today. Younger women. And we're so proud of that. And then we have, you know, people on the road and influencers and people blogging about, you know, maybe they just got on the Pan America or something and they're just going for it and they're just writing their stories. And I think Today is the time where you just dive in, go for it. You know, we know after this last era that the recent era of the pandemic and everything, that, you know, this world can change. It can change like that.
Very quickly.
If you got something, go for it. If you got an opportunity, go for it. If you're going to get on that new bike, go for it. Women today, I get that really strong sense of feeling brave and just wanting to go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And you do a really good job being the ambassador of that.
All right, I've got a question for you guys. What is the most important tool in your garage? All right, I know you're thinking. Come on. Give me, all right. All right, well, it's probably the one you use the most. And that would be your sockets, your ratchets, your screwdrivers, and your wrenches. And if you want quality tools there, you probably ought to check out somebody like Cornwell. Now, granted, you can get some cheaper tools. And honestly, there's a place for those ones that you want to bend up and heat and go into certain places, and those screwdrivers you don't mind screwing up. Well, that's where you get the cheap stuff. But if you want real quality tools that are going to last and have a warranty, that's where you need to check out somebody like Cornwell. They've been doing it forever, and believe me, you do get what you pay for.
What is your first suggestion for somebody who wants to be a bike rider? If you had your top 5 things, you know, Karen's top 5 of the things that you should do if you're not a rider now, but you want to become one, what would they be?
Well, find a mentor, for one. We've got riding academies at our dealerships. You know, hook up with a Harley dealer, talk to some of the people on the floor, you know, and if you don't have that brother, father, sister, friend, good friend that can get you behind the handlebars, you know, you can always kind of go to a dealership, and you can always like search out the programs that you can, learning programs, riding academy, things like that.
As you said before, people don't leave their bikes stock. That's something that's very unique about Harley-Davidson. So the accessories that are out there and stuff, as a company, do you really push people to modify their bikes, make them personal, as opposed to just leave them stock?
You know, I don't think we push it at all. I think it's just like, hey, right? It's just it's the nature of the brand. It's the inspiration. It's you know, if you're about a Harley-Davidson, you're about making it, forming that personal connection and making it a personal expression of yourself, right? You know, and what you know. None of us have ever seen the same Harley twice, right? And that's just not the way it goes with, you know, the premier factory custom vehicle that we produce. So, you know, the options of having more options from P&A and you know, all kinds of ways to make it your own, it definitely is an expression of individuality. I think that's the bottom line.
Now, how do you, as a designer of apparel, how do you keep moving forward like that? What's your inspirations? First of all, why I mean, I love the leather. Why the leather thing? Were you just drawn to that?
I had a leather baby blanket. No,
you probably did.
Kidding. No, I didn't. I mean, you know, again, growing up, many rallies, and, you know, just seeing people wear a ton of leathers, and actually our followers, our customers, like to adorn their jackets. They always have the patches. They always have, like, you know, it's kind of like their badge of honor of where they've been, what rallies they've gone to. And so I've always seen people take and even customize their apparel as well as their motorcycle. So as I got into leather development and put myself right to the baseline of what it takes to engineer and make something new and fresh and work better, you know, you find that you apply creative to engineering and you blend it, and hopefully you come up with a better product for the customer that's more usable, more functional, and still has cool lines and cool structure to it. So I'm getting a little technical.
No, I like that. We have a very technical audience, so no, they're going to love that. What's the future for Harley?
You know, Pan America. Amazing, right? #1 adventure touring bike in the U.S. Sportster S, the Rev Max engine. I mean, it's just the engineering attributes with some new models is just going to keep moving this brand forward. And I think the merge, there's nobody that does it better when you can apply newness to style. That's what Harley's all about, right? We've got our legacy styles, and we've got, you know, the right engineering today for what people want. Sky's the limit on where we can go with attracting new customers.
Yeah. Is there any electric in the future?
Well, live wire, which is a blast to ride, that puts a big old grin on your face. You know, you get on that live wire and you're just like, I was at a stoplight and I'm like, is this running? I don't know, let's go. Boom, I'm off, you know? Yeah, it's so quiet, so amazing. So that's a great bike. Yeah.
So when you're tooling down the road, what kind of music do you listen to? What's your road songs?
Here's a surprise. I don't listen to anything because I like just kind of that solitude and that, you know, that kind of zen that you get. Every once in a while, I like to crank on some rock and roll.
Yeah.
But, you know, for me, that's like, you know, getting away, escaping on your bike and just, you know, the road and the sensory
and the sound
perception,
of the engine. Yeah, I'm like that way. Yeah.
Man, that's a level setter
it's
for
magic.
me. Yeah,
it
it's
is
magic.
Absolutely magic.
Yeah.
If you had a piece of advice to some of the young women out there that wanted to get into maybe building bikes or riding bikes or something like that, what would it be?
You know, there's all kinds of options today to actually network and actually find either a course you want to take or, you know, some educational opportunity to learn the skills that you're going to need to put your own ideas into your build or learning, you know, to ride, whatever you want to do. You know, and I think we're all connected in a better way, so you can find that mentor, you can find that teacher.
Sure.
The motorcycling community is an amazing community of friends because there's such a driving passion behind motorcycling and what we do.
Yeah.
And you will find that connection pretty easily and then find that shared passion that's going to give you the inspiration to learn what you're going to need to learn.
You are a very confident person. You are a very outgoing person, and that is extremely important. In today's society, you know that a lot of people are really concerned what other people think about them, and it stifles them from moving forward. What advice would you have for somebody when you step out and you do something that is different?
I don't think you can care too much about what people think. I think you have to know that what you're putting out there is going to inspire somebody else.
Yes.
So you're never really inside thinking it's all me, it's all me, it's all me.
Yeah.
But I might have a new idea or something, and I want to actually help people, or I want to inspire. I mean, you want to put something out there that's going to maybe encourage and inspire others. So you know, you can't worry too much about judgment, right?
Yeah.
But have a better goal to raise yourself up and to do more for a bigger audience.
All right, that's it for today. Once again, we're brought to you by Cornwell Tools. Have a great day and get out there and work on something.